I want you to ask yourself one question. Why do you think that the topic of reincarnation is a basic tenet of belief throughout most parts of the world, but there's one population of people who don't keep this as a fundamental belief or way of being? And overall, I would say that that is the African. The African lost that. Everyone else believes it. Even in the system that Black, African, indigenous, African American, Caribbean, in the practices that they practice, they sort of touch around this concept of reincarnation. See, if you were once first and you are now last, and you're in last place, but you're treading through this last place not knowing that when you die you actually come there again, you're not in last place. You haven't even started the race. You haven't started the race because you're starting with this one life. You're starting with the belief that you exist this first time. But what if I'm telling you that no, we existed before. We've been here before. All I did was crack a major code. It's not who I was. It's not who I was. It's the confirmation or the proof of that then you throw a pebble in the pond, and once that pebble hits the pond, it reverberates to every other piece of water. So all I am is a pebble. And the funny thing about a pebble is I got this by just trying to polish the pebble, the philosopher's stone, doing things that made me contemplate on that thing. Light is shining on me, a photon, electromagnetic radiation shining on me. And I'm able to see this through the retina, the rods and cones, and it hits my brain and I see an image. All the while I'm breathing, but I can't see the air. But there are things outside of me that are just invisible as the air that affect me. And when that light that I can't see, when that energy that I can't see hits me, it hits me in the pineal gland first, the clairvoyant parts, the intuition. First it hits that, then the brain, then you see an image, and that experience could be something of you feel something, you smell something, you see something, you hear something. Basically, man, I have so many thoughts. I think a lot. I contemplate life a lot. And I'm reluctant to speak much like this because I realize that there's so much work I need to do. I can't run around screaming, I've been here before, and so have you. What do? I wrote a book about it. I want to write more books. This, more than the book, what this is a document. This is documented. This is documentation. This is documentation. This is mathematics. You can't argue with that. Reincarnation, the sun is telling us that every day. Every day. The winter solstice. The Analema figure 8 sign that the sun makes is telling you gradually. It's in everything, man. I just watched the other day. I watched a Transformer movie that came out last year, and it was just so, their box was stolen from them. It was stolen from them. These new pyramids, or this new technology that claims that there are structures under the Great Pyramid of Giza, Khufu. Human beings, so people who have essentially forgotten who. Then you take all of these things and then you begin to say, when you backtrack the why, you have to show why you don't know this. And that's when you get into the real nefarious stuff. Why you don't know this, why you haven't been made to know this, to get belief. Why don't you know this to be true? That's what you got to begin to ask yourself. Why don't you know this to be true? I wanted to say this to you. Well, the Igbo, what do the Igbo call it? I think I wrote it down. The Igbo, this Benji, something like this. I failed to write the name down. I could Google right now, but the Igbo of Ghana, they have a concept of the soul coming back. And I had a conversation with a Christian man from Ghana, a Christian brother from Ghana. It's funny, his name was Chris. That's Christ. That's the winter solstice. That's the Karast. That's the sun. That's the sun. But the Igbo, they still keep that. Many people don't. Most Muslims don't see that as a reality of life. Most Christians don't see that as a reality of life. It's odd because apparently, so there's a sect of Islam that's called the Alawites. They believe in reincarnation. That's what makes them different. They were a part of the Shia tribe. I think they're an offshoot of them. Like different offshoots of Christianity. Baptism, Seventh-day Adventist, Pentecostal, so many different offshoots. But what did this person say? This person said that the kingdom of heaven is within you. This is what that person said. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And so, visualization, seeing, to be a seer. And I don't make videos because I spend more time trying to do the things and getting caught up with life than trying to process everything that's happening here. This is essentially, what is this? This is a transmission. Really, it's a chicken in a farm saying, hey, I think the farmer's gonna eat us. That's what I'm telling you. We've agreed that we are human beings. I'm a human here. They're saying, hey, we've been here before. And it's not like it's new because many people know this to be true, except for certain people who happen to be the most oppressed people on the planet. And they don't know that they've been here before. They don't have a concept. That's why, knowing my life is immaterial, looking at the way that they show us on the news, us killing each other via music, and gang, what is a gang? A ganglion, a plexus of nerves. The nerve of you. A plexus of nerves, a gathering of nerves. There was a time when we couldn't gather together on a corner. We couldn't gather together, not too many of us. Why? we might start to think and talk. We couldn't come to church together by ourselves. There had to be someone there watching us. Why? Because we might take these scriptures and try to do for ourselves. The other day, what is today's date? March 26th of 2025, the year of the snake. And I just for the first time, I'm 47. I just for the first time saw the 10 Commandments from 1956, released the year after Emmett Till was murdered. And in this movie, you saw the black Ethiopians who had to basically bow and kiss the ring of the pharaoh, who was portrayed to be Seti the First. You had Nefertiti and Ramesses, born of Ra the Second, portrayed as white people, European people. You had the lifestyle of Egypt portrayed as evil people. The Ethiopian as servant to. And so they found these structures under the pyramid. What is the pyramid? The pyramid is a great big analogy of who you are. It's like the butterfly. You have to go within the fornix of the brain, within the pineal gland, to do those things. Am I there where I need to be? No. That's why I don't spend time making videos like this. I ain't got time to be. I'm the chicken in the field saying, hey, if you still want to be eat, then be eat. I'm not going to tell you not to eat this and not to eat that. All I can try to do is to improve myself. Improve myself, man. You know, I know we've been here before. Third eye, always knew it. $12.12. I just looked up at 12:12. I think I'm gonna close out here. Really see what happens is that I'll be trying to say this stuff to you in the most articulate way and try to put the images and explain it to you and show it to you. Sometimes you're showing people and they be like, I don't understand. I'll be like, okay. Like, all right. I'm trying to explain it to them. That this thing that you call God is going to speak to you in a symphony, like a play. It's going to present things to you. And you got to strike the right key with your actions. You got to use your intuition. You got to do it from your heart too. That's why the Nefer, word beauty, has to do with the windpipe and the heart. Your actions have to be of the heart. That's why your heart is weighed by the feather at the end. It's not about see, some people are stuck. They've come up in this world. What Tupac said, I was raised in a society, there's no way you can expect me to be a perfect person. You gotta forgive yourself. And I mean both sides. Like, look at the world the way it is today. Yeah, and so you can't erase the past away. No, you can't. You can't. It will never be, because we're gonna keep coming back. And some people don't come back and actually remember us. What is it, xenophoria? I forget the name of it. Xenoplasy? Something, there's a term, a word that has to do with when people are reincarnated or in certain traumatic situations, people will come back to consciousness knowing how to speak a language they didn't learn in this life. Where does that come from? You could say, oh, it's just a fluke. Oh, okay. You know, okay. You know. And you got exorcisms and people trying to get spirits out of people. You know, perhaps there are other yous. You know, and you can't always interfere. That other you can't always interfere with this you. You have to do the right things to open the door to remember to connect to that other you. But some people just come here and it's just they remember being here. I have another family. You're not my mother. I have another mother. Babies telling their parents, I have another mother. I had another mother before you. Parents don't know what to say. How do you speak to that? Out the mouth of babes. See, the babies are teaching you. The animals are teaching you. The trees are teaching you. The sun is teaching you. It's a cyclical nature of life. We took it and we made it into mythology. motif, story to convey an ever-existing truth. It's like a clock. These things are clocks. They're here. Science in Genesis, it says that let the stars be for the signs of the telling of the future. It is the sign, the time. It is a clock, the sundial. There's something happening here. And you're only familiar with the 24-hour day, the 52-week, the 365 year. If they ask you what your age is or what an age is, you'll say, my age is such and such. Well, what age is it? We're going in ages. Oh, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. Well, there's a clock. You don't believe in 3 o'clock? Well, 3 o'clock. The different organs in the body are stimulated at best and ideals at first times. You don't believe in the cycle in the circadian rhythm of the human body? Fine. You don't have to believe in it. It doesn't need your belief. It's happening. Oh, I don't believe I need to drink water. Okay. Belief means nothing. Right? Belief is only good for motivation. Right? If your belief don't motivate you to put that belief into action and practice to see if it's really true, then what is your belief anyway? Before my first past life came, I fasted for 20 days, only drinking water. I was aiming for 40 days. I had entered a Kemetic yoga teacher's course. And the rest is history. I lasted 20 days. The rest is history. I graduate. I hear a voice. What is that voice? Clear audio. At the African Arts Festival. That was in 2018. Led me to a woman. She invites me to the festival. I come back. This whole thing unravels to me, and I'm able to put it together. Like, wow, this past life is given to me. 2 years later, another life is given to me. I know that sometimes I think about life and I say, man, I don't want to come back here again. But last year I learned how to play Senate for the first time. And as bad as life is, you may feel bad about your life, mistakes you made. You can change your life around. You can transform your life through your actions. Transform your life. Transform your light, your life. With your actions, the actions of your heart. Improving, being better. You can't give up. You come back here again. You just forgot that part. You know what I'm saying? There's so much research and study done on reincarnation. And it baffles my mind that I never caught on to it before it actually happened to me. Until I realized it. Until it was placed in front of my face and I could not look away. And how dare me to ever look away from that life and then not speak about it? How could someone realize that they were in it? It's one thing to say, hey, I'm a pharaoh. People say that all the time, and it ain't always true. Of course they want to be that, but what type of person do you need to be to want to say, oh, I was that person? You gotta be, there could be various reasons why you might come to that conclusion. Maybe you're born on that day. Maybe you really look like the person. Maybe something could have happened. Look, every time you turn around, a celebrity says, oh, they're imitating me, so they're projecting that energy on them, saying that happened to you. And most of them don't even realize the whole underlying story. Did you know that when Emmett Till was murdered, Mammy Till heard the voice of God speak to her? Do you know that part? What? Well, it has to do with the vision, right? It has to do with the unseen realm, right? So, do you know that part? No, they don't put that in a movie. They don't tell you that part. What they do is they put that type of stuff in movies and you think it's regulated to fiction. It's not happening to you. It's not real. And if you really base what's real, so with your logic, because you can't run as fast as Usain Bolt, you don't think it's possible because you haven't done it. That's what you're saying. And see, that's where teammate comes into. That's what player versus prayer, all that comes in. Praise and pray and plays and team, what you believe in. The top player ain't got time with the belief. They doing the practice. They're putting the work in so that they can rise to the occasion, like the sun. Listen, we all need to rise to the occasion. I need to rise to the occasion. You need to rise to the occasion. All right? Because, listen, my only message is that I didn't even touch most of the things I wrote down here. There's so many thoughts that I have. I had this thought the other day. I was trying to meditate, and this right here, I believe it is. Is this it? Yes. Should I read this? I'll read one of the most powerful lines in it. Oh, this is one of the most powerful lines in this whole thing that I wrote. Two sentences I wanted to read. The first one is, reincarnation is probably a common occurrence because human beings no longer live the length of time it takes to acquire the wisdom needed to fulfill the initiatory requirements that will allow them to transform. There's so many thoughts I even have with that statement that can actually argue against it or just to support it and question that whole thought that came to my mind. I wouldn't go back to that, but here's another sentence. The loss of the knowledge of reincarnation might be the one single most cause of sadness on the earth. Not understanding that this is a cyclical thing, you know, and people playing with you, making you believe certain things, false history. You don't understand who and what you are and where we came from and how things happen, and you're just supposed to believe. And I'm saying probably a common occurrence because we don't live the length of time acquired. That was a thought that had to do with the potential I think that the human being has to live. I think that the human being, if you look at other stuff like jellyfish and certain things live, some things, the immortal jellyfish doesn't die, live forever. Whales and turtles, sea turtles, different animals that live a long length of time. And then what was written in the past about men living over 100 years old, and then the people who live 100 years old now. Perhaps we really did live and were supposed to live a lot longer than we're living. And in that amount of time, when you came here to this game of life, and you had the opportunity to raise yourself up, there was a longer amount of time that you could go through the initiatory process, right, of learning these things through a course of a life. You know, that's why this is still. Did you know that the Egyptian is African language? It's not an Asiatic language. It's an African language. I'm gonna leave it right there. We're at 22:22. I'm out. Peace.